Hey man. Alright. So we all know the situation in the world. This video is about, I think it's going to be called Securing Suburbia. How to achieve safety during civil unrest. I'm not sure. It'll be something like that, kind of a little different. So today we're going to be talking about how you living in suburbia, because you didn't have the good sense to live somewhere like this, where your shooting range can be in your backyard. You live down around Atlanta, north of Atlanta, anywhere around Atlanta, any of these suburbs, and civil unrest may be coming, and you have to secure your area. How do you do it? Well, you've made it hard on yourself because, like I said, you live there and not here. But I get it, the wife wants the kids to be in the right school, you want to live close to work, you make good money, there's stores and dining, and you live in nice big houses. And I see the appeal, a portion of the appeal. And let's face it, I grew up here. It's not like I know anything different. That's not true. I've been to places and seen some things. But why should you listen to me on this topic? You maybe shouldn't, but you're going to. You are. So I spent some time in the Marine Corps. I've been involved with this stuff for a long time, and I'm not talking anything advanced here. We're not talking no SEAL Team 6 tactics here. I'm about to give you some simple, basic steps how you can try to make your area. Actually, I should say simple. No, I should say basic, not simple. Because simple was getting the hell out of there when you had the chance. You didn't. So nothing's simple now, but there's some basic stuff you can do to make yourself safer in your suburban environment. Usually the beast comes with me, but he's down at the house right now. Mariah's cooking. Oh, he's eating. So, dog. Again, it might be a little late for this, but man, dogs are a wonderful thing. Early alert system, because you were probably alone, or as a man, you're probably the only man in your area who you can rely on. So step one is try to find another man in your area. At least three. Well, at least one, but you'd like to have three. There'd be three of you. A three-strand cord is not easily broken. So if you can cooperate with someone in your immediate area, and the two, please God, three, hell, even four, to work together. Just that. Even if you don't know what you're working together on, just that working together. The sun's going to come out for the first time in 3 weeks. That would be a giant step. All right. So try to find some allies nearby. Step two. So the way civil unrest works, because we're not talking about some organized, leftist guerrilla group, is using military tactics. We're talking about civil unrest. So these are, at most mobs running through, burning, smashing, looting, or small bands of criminals, again, just looking for the easy pickings. So the next thing you need to do is find out which way they're coming from. How are they, what is the route, the easiest route? Because these are lazy people, or these are people being driven by events. These aren't necessarily, trained tacticians who are, coming at you from the exact right angles and finding your blind spot and all this. They're most likely coming the most direct route, route from where they are to where you are. So you've got to find that route. You've got to figure out how they're coming to you, so that you can be watching that way. Now, there's an opposite to this, a corollary to this, that maybe isn't necessarily involved that much with this video, but it's, you got to have yourself a route out, because you're isolated in suburbia and you don't have a big barking dog, and you don't have 3 or 4 men to cooperate with. So there are a lot of threats you cannot mitigate, and your only option is to flee in the face of those threats. So you not only you have to know how they're going to get in, you have to know how you're going to get out. And bug out is for you guys in suburbia, or worse yet, in the cities. And that's far outside the scope of this video, and it's a huge issue. Bug out's something else entirely. But you at least have to have a route to get out. Okay? So when are they going to come? Well, if it's a mob, you're going to know when they're going to come. They're going to have some warning, maybe an hour, maybe less, maybe more. But it's not like a mob's going to materialize on your front door. you're gonna get to know a mob is coming, and now you've got to make a couple of. We'll circle back around to that. Hopefully, if I don't forget, you've got to make some decisions if a mob's coming. I will say this: there are very few possessions worth killing someone over, even a bad person. We're all created in the image of God, and there are only a few reasons why we can strike that image of God and take a life. Most possessions, I don't think, fall into that category. So you have to really stop and think, what am I defending? Why am I going to take someone's life over this? If it's food, if it's water, if it's something your family needs to survive, if it's blankets, if it's fuel, if it's weapons, if it's things that could lead to your family's demise or extreme hardship, yeah, completely, go ahead. And in fact, I can even show you in the Old Testament where bandits are to be killed. So technically, bandits have already forfeited their lives. You can kill a bandit. I still think, we need to be real careful about killing people over our possessions, our jewelry, our boats, our vehicles that aren't our bug out vehicle. But you gotta make that decision for yourself. I'll show you something. I clearly don't care about material possessions. Well, it's not that I don't care, it's just I don't care that much. Okay, but that was a whole tangent. I apologize. Let's get back on track. But so the mob, if you decide to stand and fight, you have got to make yourself inconspicuous. I think it's a real bad idea to try to stand and fight a mob, because whatever you do at the front, the people in the back don't have any idea about, and they're just pushing forward, trying to get to the front. And so even if you just start unloading into the front of a crowd, it's possible the people at the back have no idea what's going on. And you may not have you may not have actually forestalled anything, but wasted some bullets, and the crowd's still coming. Now, you can shoot in front of a crowd and they could all break and run like crazy, and you could be fine. That gets to be something of a crapshoot. But you've decided not to run. You're going to face the mob. All right, first thing you do, beat them to the punch. Trash the front of your house. Trash it. Maybe don't break the windows, but rip off the shutters. Start a grass fire in the front yard as long as you can control it. Throw stuff around, throw like the long patio furniture out in the front yard and make it look like you've already been ransacked. It's possible they'll just go right on by. So beat them to the punch. Do some superficial damage to your place, and maybe they skip it and go on. If they do try to come through the front door and you decide to try to repel boarders, I'm not going to directly address that. That is a dangerous situation. Anything can happen. That's something called CQB, and even like trained Marines in CQB, there's a really high casualty rate. And I'm probably not qualified to teach you CQB. I'm not qualified to teach you CQB. I can tell you this: your best weapon in this instance is, in my humble opinion, it's probably a 12-gauge shotgun. AR-15, fine. It's going to do the job. For that close-up fighting, and you obviously don't have much training, or you haven't put a whole lot of thought into this stuff, I think you're better off with a shotgun. Much less capacity, though. Sometimes you just need those 30 rounds on tap and 29 rounds on tap and a quick reload. But yeah, if you're gonna repel boarders. Don't let them get into the house. You make your stand at that front door. You're inside, obviously, but when they start coming in the front door, you start unloading. Don't try to play some kind of crazy Bruce Willis in the Takanomi Tower, taking them out one by one. No, make your stand at that front door, because the more they get in, the less control you have. The more they get at the stuff you're trying to protect anyway, and you're taking a big risk for nothing. If you're going to fight in that situation, do it right there. Make your stand at that front door. So a shotgun. Get a shotgun or have a shotgun. It's too late. If you don't have these things now, it's too late. The guns are off the shelves. The ammo is out of stock. If you didn't do this stuff, it's possible you can find it. It's not like it's impossible that you can't get this stuff now, but it becomes much less likely. Your choices are severely limited. Your costs are going to go way up. There's no sales on guns and ammo right now. So if you haven't been thinking about this stuff and you haven't taken these steps, you need to think really hard, long and hard, about whether or not you're going to take that stand. You might not should take that stand. You might need to go to the FEMA camp. None of us want to go to the FEMA camp. That's the big fear. It's what we're all trying to avoid. it's possible that if you've waited this long, you need to go to the FEMA camp for your family's sake. You may be the sheeple. And if you're the sheeple, go to the pen with the rest of the sheeple and bleat. I'm sorry, that sounds hard. That is hard. But, you know, the hour's late, and you didn't care this long. For so long, with all these signs, you haven't been paying attention. So, you need to be real careful, you know what you're getting into. So, there you go. Know the routes your trouble's going to come from. You're in suburbia. You know, out here, there's multiple routes I would have to watch for. There's also, I'm not going to talk about me anyway, because I'm not going to tell you what my plans are. But your situation is completely different. You know, your threat's coming from one of a couple directions. And the threat, and actually, you know, we talked about knowing your route out. You know, you got to really know when if you're going to leave. Because for a lot of you guys, you live in a cul-de-sac, the threat coming in is probably blocking your way out. But know where your threat's coming from. Do your best to forge some alliances. You know, find the men in your neighborhood. This is the difficult part. You don't want to sound like a kook, crazy loon. Hey, you know, I'm worried about people invading the neighborhood and burning all our houses down. You want to form a militia with me? Don't call it a militia. You'll freak them out. Call it a citizens watch group, which is simply a sanitized name for the militia. And try to have some of these men and try to set up a rotation. One of the skills they teach you first in boot camp in almost all branches of service is fire watch. We call that in the Marine Corps, and I think the Navy calls it fire watch too. Where you stay up at night, you stay on guard, you take rotating shifts. It's a difficult skill. And it is a skill, it's a discipline because it's hard and you're tired, and you want to go to sleep, and you have to wake up and you have to be alert and you have to be on your post. There's these general orders, there's 10 general orders about how to walk your post. I should do a video on the general orders. But that's a skill set, and you need multiple men to do it because one man can't do it. You can't stay up all night long. So the mob threat's probably during the day, but the small team of dedicated thieves coming around stealing, that's probably a nighttime threat. So you guys are going to need to have what we would call a fire watch, someone who's up at night, who's armed, who's on the lookout, and you need men for that. And you know what? 3 men's not enough. Just think about it. You've got, you know, from sundown to sun up. What would you just say for? It's not 7 hours. It's probably close. Well, right now it is. Right now, 7 hours doesn't mean 12 hours. Right now it is probably 12 hours. So you've got 3 men that have to cover a 12-hour shift every night, night in, night out, however long this thing lasts. So you know you're taking 4-hour shifts. Some poor sucker's stuck with that 4-hour shift in the middle. He sleeps for the first 4 hours, he's up for the second 4 hours, and then he gets to sleep the third 4 hours. He never gets down into that deep REM sleep. That's a hard thing to do. That is tough, and anyone who tells you it's not hasn't done it. When I say tough, I mean it's not like, it's a hard discipline to get yourself into. Once you do it, it's fine. It's not like you're in misery. But it's not something that comes naturally. Let's say that. It doesn't come naturally. Your weapon, like I say, your weapon is whatever weapon you have right now already, most likely. You're probably not going to find something at this point, but if you have the option, I say 12-gauge shotgun. An AR-15 is not a bad choice. Has a lot of over-penetration at close ranges, especially depending on the ammo you're using, because it's going so fast and it's so small. I'm not allowed to say 7.62 by 39 might be a decent choice. I didn't say that. Shh. I didn't say that. Shut up. I hate YouTube. I want to hear about it, Tex. But shotgun. You know what? You're not trained. You've waited this long. Firearms is another skill set that takes training and takes discipline. You have to. My skills are not what they should be anymore. I used to be pretty good. I have gotten old. My eyesight's not what it used to be. I've got all these children and a full-time job, and I pay more child support than some men bring home, and I don't have the money for ammo or range. You know, I get it. I'm not necessarily there's a word I'm looking for that I'm not doing. I'm not criticizing you. Jeez, why can't I come up with that? I really am old. But it's just the truth. and a shotgun, especially with buckshot, takes very little training. You know, it's almost a point and shoot kind of thing. I know it's minimal capacity, but for the threats you're facing, it really is the best choice. Lots of times just racking that slide, there's like studies about just racking the slide. People keep a shotgun with no ammo. So if someone breaks into the house, they can just rack the slide and make that really distinctive noise. And that's frequently just enough, because these people, they're not looking, well, the mobs are. The mobs are just looking to destroy stuff and get in fights. But these small bands of dedicated thieves, they're not looking to get into a fight. They want to get in, get something valuable, and get out. They're looking for the path of least resistance. And if there's a man standing there with a 12-gauge shotgun ready to go, they are highly likely to go the other direction. So there you go. Be brave. Do not fear or don't panic. Peace comes through strength. If you want to have peace, you have to be strong. And these are some of the ways you can get strong out there in suburbia, since you were not willing to get out here and be poor with the rest of us. Although, come on, be honest with me now. Is that really such a bad life? Now let me show you the downside. Okay, so there's the downside. Well, and there's a single wide trailer up there. But you know what? I live in a double wide. I don't have room to make fun of people in the single wide. But I do wish the guy on the other line would clean up his chicken coop. But not really, because I don't know if you can see it from here. You see the sawmill down there. I've got my own mess. You can see this heap. I've got a trash pile myself that I keep a little more discreet, but not much. So there you go, man. We do appreciate you. We do worry about you. We hope you'll be safe. We hope nothing comes out of any of this, and it's all a big nothing ball, because you know, this stuff isn't a game. It's not a joke. You know, bad things happen. People get hurt. Property gets destroyed. Lives get altered forever. We don't want this to happen. But the best way to make sure it does happen is to be unprepared for it, to be weak. You know, if you're weak, you're inviting this stuff to come to you. And if you're strong, you are actively repelling it. Be strong. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.